welcome back to this episode of CJ Discusses. Today we're going to talk about this week's episode of Below Deck Sailing Yacht, Season 5, Episode 4, titled Mermaid and a Big Miss Cake. So go ahead and jump right on into it. We start the episode with Cloyce getting recalled back to the ship. As you remember, last week he had gone over with the guests over to the floating little oasis that they made, and he had just been hanging out and not getting lunch ready. Now it's getting close to crunch time, and Glenn wants to know, one, why he's off the ship, and two, why lunch isn't prepared. So he has Gary bring Cloyce back, and it kind of gets into him a little bit about what the priorities are, and it's really the guests and making sure that their every need is catered to, and that being lunch when they get back onto the ship. Cloyce gets back to the ship, and Glenn asks him how long he's going to need in order to finish getting lunch ready, and Cloyce says he just needs 20 minutes. During that time period, Gary has made it back to the guests, and now the guests are hungry, and they're ready to go back to the ship. Gary suggests that they just go ahead and tie up the oasis, and he just tows everything back to the ship, which he does, and as soon as they get back, they immediately want their lunch. They sit down, and they are just starving at that point. And this is where we realize that Cloyce seriously miscalculated the amount of time that he needed to finish roasting the chicken and getting it ready for the lunch. The guests end up sitting at the table for close to 15 to 20 minutes and are getting pretty agitated about it when lunch finally does come out. Fortunately for him, he is a very good chef, and they don't really have any complaints about the food. The food's very good, other than the fact that, it was just so late. With that, the guests are now happy. Now they're ready to go on and continue with their day. And really what they're talking about is dinner. So everybody starts resetting for dinner, which is going to be a 60th birthday party for the head guests. She is looking forward to having a mermaid-themed party as well as getting her birthday cake. And that's where we find out that there's going to be an issue with the cake, because Cloyce decided, instead of using that time wisely to go ahead and make one, that he has ordered one instead. It's some type of, it looks really good. It's a sugary, nutty confection type thing, but it's not what you would think of as a birthday cake. And Daisy calls him on it, and he says that he could kind of, spruce it up a little bit with some homemade whipped cream and berries, which, I can make homemade whipped cream and berries. I got the ingredients upstairs right now. But that's how he decides he's going to jazz it up. So we'll see how this ends up for us. As everything's getting set up for dinner, the lady comes on board that's now going to be their mermaid for the evening. She goes ahead and gets into costume, and the birthday party night begins down on the swim deck with this live mermaid. And the guests are really excited about it. I mean, whatever. It's a lady dressed up with a mermaid tail. It's not like you got a real one. But they're happy. So everybody else is happy at that point. Once they're done with that, they come up and they get seated for dinner. Once they get the first round of plates out, Daisy goes ahead and tells the stews their assignments for the night. She tells Danny that she's going to go down and start doing the rooms, and that Diana's going to help out with serving. To which Danny kind of loses her mind and says that no, she wants to work on her serving skills, that she's doing serving. She's done the rooms the past 2 nights and she's not doing it. To which Diana says, I'm not doing the rooms. So you got these 2 junior stews that are telling Daisy, how they're going to do their job. And Daisy's kind of like bewildered as to what is going on here. I just told you what to do. Why are you telling me you're not doing it? She needs to kind of take charge and kind of establish her dominance, or else this is going to be the way of the season, and she's quickly losing control of these two. Eventually, they get it sorted out, and Diana goes downstairs to help out, and Danny helps serve the first course. After that's done, Daisy then sends Danny downstairs to help Diana, and they kind of hug it out, but, there's some animosity there between those two. We continue with the rest of the dinner, and things are looking good until we get to the birthday cake. So Cloyce unveils this cake in the kitchen and says he's going to heat it up. Well, if he decides he's going to heat it up and then ice it, but why are you going to heat it up? You're just going to melt your icing or your whipped cream at that point. But that's what he does. He throws it in either the microwave or the toaster oven. I'm not really sure. But he doesn't take the packaging off of it, the paper that's on it, which we find out is not parchment paper or wax paper. because when he pulls it out, it just sticks to it because that sugar coating has now, activated and become extremely sticky at that point, and the whole cake just kind of disintegrates. And now it looks like, pretty much, to put it bluntly, dog vomit. And there's no way that you can really dress that up. But Chloe says he's going to make it happen, and he's going to figure it out. And I'm going to give him credit, because he does. He puts, a pile of it on a plate, and then basically covers it with whipped cream icing, and serves it. And to be honest with you, nobody's the wiser, because nobody ate the cake. In the meantime of all of this happening, Daisy did a great job of go ahead and just getting everybody upstairs to the dance party that she had already had on lock. The DJ had arrived and has them all dancing and, having a good time and taking their minds off of the cake at that point. So that she pretty much saved Cloyce's butt on that one. During all of the drama that has been going on over the past day and a half, we've seen clips of Emma just kind of getting yelled at by Gary because she keeps making mistakes. Now, it's my understanding that she only has 1 year of experience, but she seems to be making a lot of mistakes that even a 1 year deckhand should know better about, or at least be humble about. The tender was banging up against the ship in the last episode. This episode, she's not tying knots correctly. Her head just doesn't seem to be in the game, but she's taking offense to Gary having to constantly correct her. And a lot of this, she says, goes back to an inferiority complex that she has because her brother and sister are, to put it bluntly, a lot better than she is about picking things up and just being a bit more superstarish than she is. And we see this play out through the course of the episode. But, after the evening, everybody goes to bed. They wake up the next morning, and it's time for the guest departure. The guests are very happy, and they end up leaving a $25,000 tip, which is a very good tip, so they're all very happy about that. Daisy does go and talk to Glenn about Cloyce and about his lack of professionalism, and they decide that Daisy's going to be the first line of defense, and she's going to have a conversation with him about kind of stepping up his game. She did bring up the birthday cake and how he could have used the time that he was out playing more efficiently to go ahead and make a birthday cake. And Glenn agrees and says that if Cloyce doesn't, basically shape up, that Glenn's going to have to talk with them, and then it's not going to be as nice of a conversation. So we'll see how this goes. Alright, the last little bit of drama that we have is the fact that the two junior stews cannot really make any drinks. Danny and Diana don't even know how to make the most basic drinks like margaritas or Bloody Marys. They're constantly asking Daisy what ingredients go in. You see Diana asking what they need lime juice for, and Daisy has to explain for the margaritas. So Daisy decides that she's going to have them make drinks for the crew before they go out that evening, just to kind of practice, and I think so she can get an idea of where they're at and their skills. Diana is not very happy about this at all. She says it's her off time and she shouldn't have to be making drinks for everybody. So she makes one drink and then she walks off, leaving leaving Danny to have to make the rest of the drinks. Danny is of course pissed off about this, so there's still more infighting going on between these two girls. And Daisy ends up going to talk to Diana, gets her back down, and then Diana and Danny are kind of bitching to each other about, oh, you didn't have to go behind my back. So I think there's going to be more bigger blow-ups as the season goes on between those two. The crew then goes out to dinner, and lo and behold, Cloyce actually pays this week, so he has now checked that box, and he can get the steak and lobster all season long because he has paid for his meal, crew meal, and he doesn't need to worry about having to do that anymore. As they go from the dinner to the dance club, you see Emma in the car with Danny and Diana, and she is just grilling Diana about whether or not she likes Gary. Diana's like, I'm not interested in him. Like, I could do so much better. He's not even on my radar. And Emma just keeps going after her. And when they get to the club, Danny and Diana are kind of talking about it and saying that they're traumatized by how aggressive Emma was. So Daisy goes and confronts Emma about it, and Emma's like, I wasn't that aggressive, and that now she's mad at the other two girls. So now we see, another girl fight, and now Emma has further ostracized herself from the group. So I really feel like the show is setting Emma up to leave early, whether it's through her saying she's got some personal reasons that she wants to leave, or she just ends up getting fired, essentially, for her lack of skills and not gelling with the crew. So I'd be very curious to see where that goes. But that's where the episode ends off. So we'll see how that progresses next week. In the meantime, look out for more of my videos and have a good day.